Now in its fourth generation, K-pop's popularity has exploded out of South Korea and onto the global scene, and as of 2019, is ranked at number 6 among the top 10 music markets worldwide. But what are the dark sides of the genre, and what are the big players in the industry doing to tackle these issues? K-pop is a genre of music that was developed in South Korea in the 1990s. Its roots come from Korean folk music, which were built on by American rap and hip-hop, Europop, R&B, and electronic dance music. K-pop is more multimedia based than most genres of music, with tracks often being accompanied and enhanced by music videos and stage performances. Title tracks and singles almost always have a choreographed dance, as do many other songs on the album. K-pop is often split into generations. It's a term used by fans to denote the era each artist came from and some of the stylistic tropes that they used at the time. So Taiji and boys would be considered the first generation, while groups like Big Bang and Girls' Generation would be considered second gen. While there are some third gen groups still active today, like BTS and Blackpink, we are generally considered to be in the fourth gen now, with groups like TXT and ITZY. K-pop as a genre has steadily been growing in popularity over the last decade, and as it gathered more fans, so has it too gathered its critics. Often, particularly online, we hear about the dark side of K-pop and how it's corrupted. But is there any truth in that? Well, the truth is that there is a dark side to all music industries. But here are just some of the biggest issues K-pop has specifically faced in recent years. As with music produced all over the globe, there is a certain amount of corruption within K-pop. Issues with labels taking more than their fair share of the profits and restricting artist creativity aren't just limited to the Western music industry, but have their place in K-pop too. One issue that has arisen in recent years was the corruption of reality talent competition Produce 101. Produce 101 is a survival show where, through audience votes only, 101 trainee competitors signed to 46 different entertainment companies compete, eventually being narrowed down to a final 11, who are then debuted as a new K-pop group. The groups who have started out from this show are IOI, 101, iZone, and most recently, X1. In 2006, the terms of the Produce 101 contracts were leaked, revealing that not only were trainees not getting paid for their work on the show, but they and the companies they were signed to were barred from taking legal action against any manipulated edit, nor were they able to reveal any information whatsoever about the show. At the time, CJ the company behind Produce 101, claimed this was to prevent spoilers. Additionally, any profits from the debut group will be split 50-50 between CJ and the trainees agency, once again leaving the actual trainees without a penny. As bad as this sounds, it gets worse. As the show progressed through to its fourth season, audience voters noticed that the vote statistics were not adding up to the trainees who made it through, and filed a lawsuit against Mnet, the network behind Produce 101, for electoral fraud. In November 2019, Produce 101 showrunners and producers were found guilty of taking bribes from record labels to manipulate the paid audience voting. These bribes would be used to ensure that certain trainees ended up in the final lineup, increasing the record label's overall profits. Since these revelations came to light about Produce 101's practices, X1, the most recent group debuted through the show, disbanded. The show continues today, but as a result of the scandal, it has much stricter rules to abide by. The contracts between K-pop idols and their record labels have long since been criticised for their length and severity. While the original purpose of the contract was to ensure that record labels care for and educate their trainees, who are often teenagers at the time, over the years the contracts have been developed to benefit the record label over the trainee. If adolescent trainees want a chance at being a K-pop idol, they must sign over control of their diets, their wardrobe, their behaviour, and even their love lives to their record labels. In the last 15 years, there has been a lot of change, mostly incited by the South Korean Fair Trade Commission, although this was only after idols took their record labels to court over their contracts. The most high profile of these idols were 3 members of the group TVXQ, who settled in court with SM Entertainment after a 3-year legal battle lasting from 2009 to 2012. The terms of their original contract were revealed to be as follows. Their contract is 13 years long. SM takes 50% of the profits and TVXQ takes the other 50%, and from that 50%, TVXQ had to pay for the entire cost of overseas promotions, stylists, dancers, and all the staff members. If their albums don't sell over 500,000 copies, TVXQ receives no money for the sales. If they sell 500,000, TVXQ gets nothing. Even just these snippets make it abundantly clear that the contracts are written up in favour of the record labels. Add to that the fact that SM Entertainment owned the rights to all of TVXQ's songs, and upon termination of their contract, TVXQ still held the responsibilities, having to pay triple the amount of the promotion fees and twice the amount of their profits to SM Entertainment. This still holds even if it's SM Entertainment that initiates the termination. After this court case, South Korean Fair Trade Commission made several amendments to unfair terms, first in 2009 and then again in 2017. As of 2021, contracts cannot exceed 7 years and work on a break-even system. Once the trainee has repaid the debts incurred by their training, they are then able to earn profits from their ventures. While the contracts are now standardised, this doesn't mean they're necessarily good. Idols are often still forced to train and perform on little sleep and through health issues, even chronic ones. There is still so much of the contracts that can be called into question, but there have still been significant improvements since the issues were first brought up. Similarly to the financial abuse from record labels and the unfairness of some of these K-pop contracts, there have also been reports of staff members of record labels physically abusing K-pop idols. K-pop group The Eastlight came forward in 2018 to speak up about the abuse they faced at the hands of one of their producers and the CEO of their record label, Medialine Entertainment. According to a source, producer A, who has now been revealed as producer Moon Young-il, would verbally and physically attack the members of Eastlight, all of whom were minors at the time. There were reports that he would hit them with metal microphones and a baseball bat, and wrapped a guitar string around members' neck and tightened it every time they made a mistake in their performance, with any complaints from the band being met with death threats. Similarly, the CEO of Medialine Entertainment not only witnessed this abuse, but would also verbally abuse them. Both the producer and CEO were found guilty of child abuse on July 5th, 2019, and are currently serving time in prison in South Korea. Mental health has been a taboo subject in the culture of South Korea for a long time, but as globally we are becoming more understanding of mental health issues, more and more K-pop idols are coming out to talk about their own struggles with mental health. However, this is also exposing mistreatment by these artists' fans and their record labels. Sasaeng fans are obsessive fans who engage in behaviour that breaches the privacy of idols, such as stalking and harassment, like repeatedly calling their phone number. Sasaeng fans are often the ones responsible for cyber harassment, something many idols have struggled with. Sully, a member of girl group FX, committed suicide after a long struggle with depression, which many have speculated was caused by regular harassment by Sasaengs online. This was an issue for which she approached her record label SM Entertainment about several times, yet they have been criticised by fans for responding passively. Journalists and fans alike have suggested that had SM responded more appropriately and taken proper action against the Sasaengs, things may have been different for Sully, but SM Entertainment have not commented on this aspect of her death. Jonghyun of SHINee, also managed by SM Entertainment, committed suicide less than 2 years prior to Sully's death. His death was also linked to depression and struggles with mental health by media outlets, as he spoke openly and extensively about his struggles with depression prior to his death. In the wake of the tragedies, such as Sully and Jonghyun's suicides, record labels have been pressured to be invested more in their idols' health. Sully's death also prompted amendments to legislature, which would mean hate comments could be reported for deletion by anybody who saw them, and the commenters' real names would be associated with their accounts so that they could be tracked and prosecuted. Eating disorders have, unfortunately, played a role in K-pop since its early days. Trainees are often required to weigh themselves weekly to maintain a certain weight and may not be able to perform in showcases until they've reached that weight. Some agencies have been known to require weekly weigh-ins and display the results on the wall for extra motivation. Many idols have admitted to suffering from disordered eating and excessive weight loss behaviours at some point during their training, and others have spoken up about suffering from eating disorders. Twice's Momo has spoken about a period in which her agency, JYP Entertainment, required her to lose 7 kilograms in a week to perform a showcase, causing her to go to the extreme of eating only a single cube of ice a day and going to the gym every single day to lose the weight. IU, one of the biggest K-pop idols in South Korea, opened up about her struggle with bulimia on the show Healing Camp in 2014, and about how the pressure of her fame contributed to her eating disorder. And So In-guk purportedly developed bulimia after auditioning for JYP Entertainment and being rejected on account of his weight. When he believed he had lost enough weight, he returned to audition again, only to be rejected once more because the vomiting had damaged his vocal cords. Today, idols are now much more vocal about their struggles with weight and the pressure they are put under by agencies to control it. And as artists like BIMM, Momo and IU continue to speak up about their struggles with eating disorders, the topic becomes less taboo and more can be done to prevent it. And despite JYP Entertainment now including an organic cafe and counselling services that are available to all idols signed to their labels, unfortunately there hasn't been much structural change by the wider industry to address the issue of eating disorders, and therefore there's still a long way to go. There have been several big scandals in K-pop, yet the biggest one in recent years was by far the Burning Sun and KakaoTalk chat room scandals. These were two interconnected scandals concerning the K-pop idols and other South Korean celebrities that first occurred in 2019 that completely threw the world of K-pop and Korean entertainment. Seungri, a now ex-member of the K-pop group Big Bang, owned a club in the Gangnam district of Seoul called Burning Sun. On January 28, 2019, a male clubgoer reported being harassed by a staff member at Burning Sun. The police investigation that followed turned up allegations of the club's involvement in prostitution, drug trafficking, and police corruption. These allegations went on to include accusations of rape and spy cameras, which were revealed over KakaoTalk, a popular chatting app in South Korea. These allegations were discovered in chat rooms run by Jung Jun-young, at the time a member of the rock band Drug Restaurant, who confessed in these chat rooms to filming himself having sex with women without their knowledge and distributing the videos. In South Korea, this is referred to as molka, where sexual acts, usually of women, are filmed and posted online or sent to others without their consent. Also implicated in the scandal were FT Island's Choi Jong-kyun, CN Blue's Lee Jong-hyun, and Highlight's Yong Jun-kyung, as well as a former employee of YG Entertainment, the record label who created Seungri's group Big Bang. This scandal completely rocked the world of K-pop and Korean entertainment, revealing a clear abuse of power by the people implicated and causing immeasurable damage to the victims. Legal action was taken against all those involved in the scandal, and the idols implicated were fired or have retired from the industry. Seungri has very recently been sentenced to 3 years in prison on related prostitution and gambling charges, as well as being fined 1.15 billion won for his involvement in the scandal. These were just a handful of some of K-pop's darker stories. There is still a long way to go in tackling many of these issues, but in recent years, the K-pop industry has gone through a lot of changes to get to where we are today, making many improvements, and they are continuing to do so. There are dark sides to all industries in all countries, but in regards to tackling these specific issues in K-pop, we can only hope that the big players, the record labels and media institutions, step up to protect the next generation of K-pop artists.